Oh, is it gonna work? Hey, happy Saturday. How's it going? How's everyone doing? Welcome to the stream. Oh, I hear myself. I know why. Give me 1 second. I wondered why I heard this echo earlier. Maybe better? Yeah, it's better. Hey, happy Saturday. Sorry about the echo. I had sorry about the delays too, and I think my audio is a little bit off, so I apologize if there's peaking or no more echoes. Man, Windows 11 is great until it's not anymore. I have this weird audio issue with GoXLR, and I can't decide if it's Microsoft or GoXLR. Whatever the case may be, it's kind of painful because like my audio devices are gone. I have to do some like shuffling around, toggle audio device on, off, then it magically appears. Then they're all reset in OBS. Then I have to reset them in OBS. And then hopefully not forget to turn off my other thing, which was causing an echo, but I figured that out quick. Anyways, how's everyone doing? Happy Saturday. Happy Thanksgiving if you're in the US. We had Thanksgiving this Thursday. I actually celebrated mine yesterday because of other commitments I had or commitments other people had, so I delayed it. So hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving. I'll start with weather. Usually do. Weather here in Minnesota is fantastic. This is awesome. I mean, we've had 40s. I got down to 20s yesterday, but I mean, an okay 20s. And it's been great. Dry, clear, not too windy and not too cold. So a good November so far. Hopefully it continues, and it is, at least for us in Minnesota, for the foreseeable future. I think we got another week of this same kind of weather hanging around 20s, 30s, 40s, and not too bad. So I can't complain. No snow. Not that I don't like snow, but I don't like the in-between. I don't like when it's kind of rainy, kind of icy, then freezes, and vice versa. When it kind of melts, it's kind of like, ooh. Anyway, so hey, what are you guys working on? What can I help with? If you're new to the stream, that's kind of what we do. Set aside an hour on a Saturday to talk about what we're working on, what I can help with, maybe talk about things that are in the pipeline or things you'd like to see. Anything. It's really just a gathering of people and minds to just take an hour out of your Saturday and see how everything's going, and also to connect with each other, right? I say this in a lot of my streams and in a lot of my videos, but I really mean it. That, like, up until just recently, I've never had anyone to talk to about this stuff, about self-hosting or home labs or things I'm doing at home or crazy configurations in my servers or how to host things securely in my home lab or how to get certificates. It's just been me figuring it out, me and the internet. And so this is also that time to connect with other people who are interested in the same thing or who like to do the same thing or even are curious about it. So anyways, that aside, we're going to definitely get into what you guys are working on. There was already some follows, some subs here in the beginning. I'll get to that here in a second, so thank you. But yeah, if you're working on something or want to share something or excited to share something or talk about something, just throw it in chat and we'll get to it for sure. So what I've been working on, you guys usually ask me, but I'll get that out of the way so it just doesn't bleed into elsewhere. As you know, I've been working. So I released a video on logging and Loki, and Loki's pretty awesome. I mean, is it perfect? No. Is it great? I think so. It's going to be like, it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. Whatever types of logging, however you log is going to be up to you or the enterprise you work at. It's definitely going to be up to them. I thought it was a great fit here for home for a couple of reasons. One, because, hey, Trevor, thanks. I'll get into them, but thank you so much. I'll definitely call it out here in a second. I'll wrap this up in about 30 seconds. But, lately I've been just going through and decommissioning the way I used to log things before and migrating most of them to Loki, which is actually pretty easy because a lot of my workloads are container first. It's kind of cloud first. So personal cloud first, container first. So logging directly in my Kubernetes cluster or on my containers themselves in Docker has been surprisingly easy. It's basically free. Once you turn it on, you get them in Kubernetes, you get it all for free. So it's kind of what I've been doing. And then the other day, I think it was on Thanksgiving, that morning, I had the crazy idea of like, hey, I have all of these Docker only hosts floating around. Like, what would that look like if I just converted these to Kubernetes nodes and applied a whole bunch of taints and affinities to make sure they run on the VLAN that they're supposed to run on and get the same capability I was before, but manage them just in Kubernetes without Docker. And it actually turned out pretty awesome. I'm pretty impressed. It took a long time to get there, but I'm pretty impressed with the way it turned out. So, anyways, not that I have anything against Docker, but once I get things into Kubernetes, I get all of my standard stuff. I get all of my HA, I get all of my certificates, I get all of my logging without doing anything. So I don't have like 5 one-off machines anymore. I got rid of 3 of those 5 one-off machines, brought them into Kubernetes, and now they just run on top of a cluster that I already have, getting logs the same way I do, getting communicating with each other the same way they do, and getting SSL the same way they do. So, or TLS, I should say, but getting certificates the same way. So anyways, super cool stuff. I want to share it. I'm not sure how to share it. It's not definitely, it might not be video worthy, but anyways, that's what I've been working on. Hopefully you haven't been working on anything quite as crazy as that. Hopefully you have, because I'd love to hear about it. So anyways, real quick, before I get into comments, let's talk through. So there was a lot of follows right before I streamed, so I appreciate that. I'll start with the Michael. I'm going with the Michael IT. Splunk guy, hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. 747 Yeet Squad, hey, how's it going? 0 days virus, please stay away. No, thanks for joining, appreciate it. Grolozy, Mortensen, oh, that's a lot of vowels in there. Morten Olsen. I don't know why I couldn't get that right. It's glasses. I'm gonna blame it on glasses. And the angle I look at is kind of weird with my microphone. Got to figure something else out. Strike Machine, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. And then Steven, our savior, has subscribed Prime Sub. Thank you so much. Thanks for spending your Prime Sub on me. Appreciate it. General Ryan, how's it going? Resub, Tier 1, 12 months. Thanks for the continued support. 1 year. All right, thank you. And I fixed something that's a bug in my bot that's been there forever. I fixed it this morning, and anyways, you should see the streak number correctly now instead of just some weird, thanks for the 12 sub. Anyways, thanks for the continued support. Really appreciate it. Sweet to be sub for 4 months now. Trevor, thank you so much. Resub, Tier 1, 4 months, 3 month streak. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And then L Oscillador. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. So anyways, hopefully you guys are doing well. Let's get into comments. Let's see what you guys are working on. Appreciate the follows like that. Solar Finite, Fit Night 1. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Did I miss anyone? I hate it when I miss someone and someone says you skipped me. So I apologize if I skipped you. Let me know. I think that's everyone. I think I said Strike Machine. That was in between General Ryan and Trevor. But let's get into comments. Let's see what you guys are working on. And let's see who's first, too. I have a clue, usually, who's first. But maybe not today. It's a new one. Hey, Crack Kitty, how's it going? Hey, cheers from vacation in the Dominican Republic, I assume, DR. Hope everyone's good. And yeah, hopefully you are. I know you've been chatting in Discord from the beach. Super jelly when you're like, hey, I'm talking about tech stuff on the beach. In this Discord. So, hey, hope you're enjoying your vacation. And thanks for tuning in. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. First time chat from Mr. Snilly. I'm going to go with, I like Snilly. That's probably not how it's pronounced. Hi, all from Sweden. Hey, thank you. Hi from the US. How's it going? Elikang, how's it going? How are you doing? Hello. Takano. Short one. Yeah, right. Yeah. I say that every time. Whenever I say short one, it turns out to be a long one. But I do have to keep it short today just because stuff with wife and family and friends in town. So I do have to keep this one on time. Even though I started a little bit late, I'll adjust accordingly. GGYYNY. First in line. You were close. Toscano finally set up Rancher again and hoping to get Nginx set up. Nice, man. Yeah, I know in Discord you were working through that again. Hopefully you get it up and going. Let me know if you need help. I've done a couple things on Rancher before. I've done even more this week, and I figured out so many awesome things on Rancher. And I don't want to go on and on about Rancher, but oh man, it's they've really figured out a lot of stuff and made stuff really easy. And I was kind of skeptical of their 2.6 release, not for any other reason other than it was new and I didn't fully understand it. But I'm actually liking it. The UI refresh is nice. It's starting to feel like something you get from Google or from Azure or from AWS. You know, their GKE or AKE or EKE, whatever they name it. Kubernetes management UI is starting to look really clean and really tightened up, just like a cloud provider. So I like it without all the other bloat you get from there. I'm not saying any cloud provider has great UIs. They're all pretty bad. But you know, some are better than others. And I think I think this is the way that Rancher is going, is just giving you one pane to manage all of your clusters. And it's actually surprisingly good, although I have to dig quite a bit for a couple of things that used to be really easy. Anyways, let me know if you need help, Takano. I've been digging into 2.6 over the last week, and so I have lots of experience with it now. I held off on the upgrade for a while until it was stable. It is stable now, but you can see that I don't know if Rancher had this plan or SUSE was influencing this, but it's looking really, really clean and really, really polished. Phantom Way, hey Tim, any plans on making an update video on how to SSL all the things with the newest Rancher? That's a completely different and current guide than what you have. Yeah, so speaking of, possibly, because it's really different. So I may, and I would just take, let me put it this way. So I already have documentation out there. If you look at my documentation site and you just search for traffic, you'll get a couple of responses in the search results. One of them is like Rancher 2 traffic. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of words in there. But in there, in K3S, in there is the plain old Kubernetes way to do it. And that's where I see Rancher going for the most part. Besides some of their, cluster-wide apps and some of their easy Helm configurations, I feel like Rancher's moving away from this Rancher-specific way of doing things and this more open, standard way of doing it, the Kubernetes way of doing things, mostly with Helm, but not always with Helm. And so I do have something specifically on that. So if you're using Rancher 2.6, if you're doing single node only, that's tough. You could tell by that video that was tough. You have to do like a lot of networking trickery. But if you have more than one node, let's say you're running, your Rancher management cluster, the local cluster, and you've spun up another cluster or single node cluster outside of Rancher, it's super easy. Take super easy back. It's less complicated, I'll say that, than the single node. Single node makes everything way complicated because you have to do a lot of trickery to get around where things are exposed for Rancher versus where things should be exposed for the cluster. Anyways, long story short, do I plan on making one? I think so. It's definitely in my backlog. Things just bubble up. And so, but in the meantime, like I said, I have something specifically on K3S and Traffic 2 that works for any version of Rancher because it's Kubernetes specific and Rancher agnostic. It takes Rancher out of the equation. You can still do all the things you normally could do. It just might take a little bit more YAML or a little bit more Helm, which aren't bad things. If you want to learn Kubernetes, it's inevitable. At some point, you're going to have to write some YAML. You're going to have to use kube control, and you're going to have to use Helm. Arguably, you don't have to use Helm, but it makes deployments really, really easy. So the long answer to your short question. But ping me in Discord if you can't find it. It should be there. There are some steps you can skip if you already have some things there. But yeah. That was the best non-answer I think ever for Am I Going to Do It? I'm all about non-answers. No, I will at some point. I have limited resources, limited time, and the things in my backlog just bubble up. And whatever's I think I'm working on or is important to me at the time, I definitely do, or something that I think is going to help a wide stroke of people out there, I definitely go for. But I haven't forgotten. That's why I wrote the blog post, because I was like, there's no point of me sitting on this content until I make a video. Like, I'll just publish it in blog posts and then people can consume it that way. So yeah, Phantom Way, sorry. That was like I said, long non-answer, a lot of non-answers today. Steven, our savior, refreshing my JavaScript skills. Nice. Sorry, I don't have a cold, but just like runny nose. I think it's the air in here. Anyways, Refreshing my JavaScript skills. All right, yeah, I am too, all the time because I write a lot of it and it changes a lot. And depending on if you're using frameworks or not, you're doing front end, back end, middle tier. It's all different. Lots of libraries. So awesome. Let me know what projects are you working on for sure. Techno, agree. This would be nice. Got lost in some parts. Yeah. If you're using Rancher 2.6, they removed the app catalog that was in prior to 2.6. So you have a couple choices. Either don't use 2.6, which is probably not the right answer, or use 2.6 and use my blog post that shows you how to install it with Traffic 2 on top of it. So Alec Eng, Hugo site is ready to publish. Nice, but I didn't modify my theme properly. Now I have to figure out how to separate my customizations. Added an FAQ. Oh, sorry, I totally skipped one. See, I told you I was going to skip real quick. Well, I'll visit it back because I already read most of this. Now to figure out to separate my customizations, added FAQ and review pages, which expanded heavily mods from Hugo Hero theme. Nice, yeah, it's super fun. I totally agree. Like separating your customizations are kind of tough and hard. It kind of stinks when you want to modify some stuff. And some themes are better than others on allowing you to, add additional properties. Sometimes you just have to go in there and modify their theme and then commit their theme. So, yeah, awesome. Congratulations. I'm a huge fan of Hugo and Jekyll, and there are, a handful of other static site generators that are fantastic. I think they can, address 90% of what most people want to do when it comes to creating content or sharing, content on the web. And they don't need a full-blown WordPress or a Ghost CMS system, which opens a Pandora's box of everything you can even think of. So awesome. Yeah, glad to hear it. Let me know how it goes. Mr. Snill. I like Snilly. I'm going to go with Snill. First time live here. Please be patient. Have a couple of nut questions. Oh, man. This was like this. I embraced myself because that one was tough for me. I'm not going to lie. It took me a long time to figure out, and it took me a long time to put that together. And it was a long video, too. I was like, can I make this under an hour? I'm going to try. If not, I'm just going to do it. And surprisingly, that I can do a long format one almost an hour, and people are still okay with it. I've always treated my videos as long as they need to be. So that one's as long as it needs to be because there's a lot going on in there. But that's why it's the ultimate guide. Really quick, EIO Scalador, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Solar. I called that one. Fancy Yellow. I need to mark these as red. Fancy Yellow. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. And Sour Cloud Berry. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll mark them as red. That helps me. Let's see. And then I'm going to go Pac-Man. All right. Lead speak. Pac-Man. Pac-Man for, I can't do the rest. Nest. Pac-Man for, I got Pac-Man. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Mr. Snow. Okay. So hi there. I have a question about Proxmox. Handles the shutdown procedure when NUT signals it's time to shut down. Yep. If the host shuts down, I have the impression that the CTs just get stopped, killed. Is that the case? If so, how do you manage it? If you have a MariaDB running in a container, is it not healthy just to kill it? Kind of, sort of. So when Proxmox shuts down, in general, when you do a shutdown, those containers, along with those containers should get a SIG term. I'll say it that way. So those containers get a SIG term. So they're told, hey, you need to shut down. And then there's some kind of grace period that they have before they need to shut down. They should gracefully shut down. I mean, last time I checked LXC or containers, even Docker does this. And so you just want to make sure. I mean, you can monitor it. You can go inside, look at the logs for one of your containers. You can do this even without it and just say shut down on one of your containers. You should see a SIG term. Or if you log it out, another great way to check it is if you write your logs somewhere, check to make sure that you see that, hey, there was a SIG term, it was told to shut down, it should shut down. I mean, that's generally how things should work. Is it healthy just to kill it? No, especially not for databases. I mean, things should be pretty resilient in general. Is it a good idea? No. Is it ever, a good idea? No. Is it ideal? No. Is it the end of the world? Depends. Depends on how busy your database is. But for the most part, they should be kind of okay. But you want to avoid it at all costs if you can. So anyways, long story short, so if Proxmox is told to shut down, it tells VMs to shut down. They get the shutdown signal just like hitting the power button. They should shut down. They have a grace period of time it takes for them to shut down. Then they'll get a hard shutdown. And containers should do the same. Containers should do the same unless something's changed. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But you can log this out. And like I said, you can test it yourself. You can log it out yourself. You can monitor it a couple of different ways and just, see if it actually gets that command or if it writes something to the logs when it gets that command. That's the way I see it. Because I see that in a lot of my Docker containers, even in Kubernetes too. When things shut down or when it's told to or redeployments, they get that command and you see them shut down. You might get a little error and then they'll start back up. Craig Kitty, how was your Thanksgiving? Hey, thanks for asking. Mine was good. Like I said, we celebrated actually yesterday because had the only family I have that lives here in town had to work, and then his significant other, she was coming into town, didn't get here till late, so we were like, let's just do it Friday. So Thursday was like the most chill Thanksgiving I've ever had because I didn't do much. I mean, we cleaned and stuff like that and prepared food, but it was pretty chill. So yesterday was my Thanksgiving. It was actually really good. It was pretty chill. Lots of good food. Lots of leftovers for sure. And my wife is super good cook, so I'm probably going to gain about 10 pounds eating leftovers for 4 days. But it was good. It was good. Hope yours was good too. Takano, I just wish there was USB-C to 3.5 dongles weren't so thin. I feel like it's going to break at any moment. Yeah. Dongles in general, especially when they go to 3.5 millimeter, are super like flimsy. They're like totally flimsy no matter what they are. Everyone that I have that is a dongle is super flimsy compared to the actual cable. I totally agree. What's up, folks? Cobra Steel. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, there's no status. I get confused. Status works in Discord server, doesn't work here, and I just throw it in there. But even if I see the response of, hey, it's not supported, means my bot's working. So if I do exclamation point anything and it responds, I'm like, okay, good to go. It's like, even typos, I'm just going to roll with it. Itador, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. How you doing? Happy Saturday. First time viewer. All right. Silicon Raven. Hey, how's it going? Hi. Alec, looking to integrate MailChimp to survey and newsletter with static Hugo site, get Netlify with custom DNS. So close, but feel far away. Yeah, so you touched on something I was going to go down this. I felt like this was a tributary, but I was like, I won't go down here because I'll end up talking about it for 30, 45 seconds and you might not even be interested in. But I was going to say, that is the one use case where I feel like where full-blown CMSs do this a little bit better because they have state, they have a backend, they can call functions and do things, right? And so you're running into one of the challenges with static site generators, which is how do I call functions? How do I do this stuff? It's just static HTML. Obviously, you're not going to put, you're not going to build all of this JavaScript into your static site. You may or may not to do these things. So how do you do these things? So yeah, a lot of things you're trying to do, like survey, newsletter, is you're going to have to call other services to do this. Some people use functions too, cloud functions or serverless functions to do these things. Let's say you have to sign up for a newsletter on a static site generator. You don't have a backend. So you have to call into some other service and say, hey, sign up this email address that just inputted this email address in this form and then respond back to me. I'm like punching my chair. When it's successful, so I can tell the user, hey, you're successfully signed up. So yeah, you're touching on some of the cool stuff that you'll have to figure out. Some of the integrations you'll have to figure out if you're not running something like a WordPress or a Ghost or a full-blown CMS that has a backend. Static site generators, you got to figure it out a different way. So you're figuring that out. So awesome. So yeah, you're getting close for sure. You're figuring out like the last mile stuff, but the last 2% take 90% of the time though, for sure. Geeky Rand, how's it going, man? How's it going? Discord, you guys are testing my bot too. Cobra Steel, I'm currently trying to reflash an H710 Mini to IT mode to use for TrueNAS scale machine. Nice. Yeah, nice. Sounds awesome. Let me know how that goes. I know it's definitely possible. I haven't done it before, but but if you search our Discord for it, people have done it for sure. And there's plenty of information out the internet too. But awesome. Yeah, TrueNet Scale, I'm pretty pumped for. I did spin up another test machine of alpha and checked it out some more. It's looking pretty close. It's looking pretty close to at least a formal release. And man, their sign-in screen alone, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's white and blue and has all these psychedelic colors, and it feels fresh when you log into TrueNet Scale. Feels really, really fresh. And I was so excited that the QEMU guest agent works. Yay! like the biggest. Well, I wanted to be on Linux for lots of reasons instead of FreeBSD. But one of the big reasons is so the QEMU guest agent can work, because one doesn't really exist for BSD. So that was super refreshing when I spun it up a couple of days ago. I was like, yes, I get. I get memory ballooning if I want, and I get all of these other things. I get proper memory reporting, the IP address of the device, and all of the metrics that come along with it, and real drivers for the real virtual devices. So I'm like, this is feeling great. I'm so glad this is going to be on Linux. So yeah, let me know how it goes. So you're ramping up for scale. I like it. Silicon Raven, it's Sunday for me. All right. I woke up, I woke up this morning thinking it was Sunday because everything was delayed by a day and thrown off. And plus I had an extra day off work. I was like, what day is it? And I swore when I woke up, I was like, it's Sunday. I was like, no, I didn't stream today. It's not Sunday. I didn't stream yesterday. John Doe Norris, Techno Tim, good afternoon. Have you ever opened up your Ubiquiti network devices? Physically? No. I watched a video this morning on a camera guy who opened up his Unified Dream Machine. No, I have seen videos on it, though. And it's pretty awesome. AnyBlast, Resub, Prime, 8 months, 1 month streak. Dude, thank you so much. AnyBlast, how's it going? Haven't seen your name in a while. Hope you're doing well. What are you working on? How's it going? But no, I haven't. They're big and empty. I've seen it before. They're big and empty because... someone did a tear apart before, and I watched it, and I was just thinking to myself, why didn't they allow 2 bays, for the Unify Protect for hard drives to get some redundancy, or stripe them for more storage? But it's because they want to sell you an MVR. But I have seen it before. I haven't done it myself. No, I try not to open the things that I don't need to unless I absolutely need to. I'm all about watching teardowns on YouTube, but I don't do teardowns myself. GGYNY, happy Thanksgiving, Tim. Any plans to do a video about home automation? Possibly. I did one a while ago on setting up Home Assistant with Docker, and I keep going back and dabbling in Home Assistant a little more. I've been back and forth, and I've been wishy-washy only because some of the devices I have didn't have the greatest support. Now they have better support. But maybe I have one. I have one on Docker and Home Assistant. So will I do anything more in depth? Maybe. It just depends. But yeah, good question. It's funny. It's like you're reading my mind, because I did Wednesday. I did go back out and give Home Assistant the old college try again and set it up in a VM. I'm kind of, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Like I love the product. I just wish they had better support for Docker. It's kind of confusing how they have it set up, and I get it. They want to make like an appliance itself, and they depend on Docker inside for plugins. And so if you're going to use Docker for the thing, you can't use the plugins unless you pull in your own plugins using containers. So I'm just figuring that out, seeing if I can sift through that and put together a good plan to say 100% Docker and not run a VM with it inside, with it then running Docker. I want to kind of break that down and use Docker only, which makes it a little more confusing, but that's what I do best. Zoid, hi. Looking into KubeVirt, and evaluating it and replacing Proxmox cluster, since all of my workloads are containers and I just use the VM sometimes. Sorry, I need to take a deeper breath. I'm going to get the hiccups. I believe there is even vGPU support. Nice. Yeah. KubeVirt is interesting. It's interesting. It's a, I don't want to say new, but a newer concept or newer technology where you can now run virtual machines inside of a container. So it's turning it upside down. We've had this pattern of you run virtual machines, or you run machines, and in those machines you run containers. And then people said, okay, well, if you're going to do if you're going to run those containers, we'll probably run them in a virtual machine because of all the greatness that comes along with virtualization. But now with KubeVirt, they're saying, okay, let's reel that back one layer. Let's get rid of the host layer, run your Kubernetes on bare metal, and then run your virtual machines as containers within Kubernetes that's on bare metal. And it's just like, whoa, whoa. So I've been looking into it too. It seems super, super duper interesting for sure. It just turns the paradigm upside down. It just basically turns it inside out. Just says no more hypervisor virtual machine than containers. It's run bare metal Kubernetes, and then in there, run your virtual machines as a container or run them inside of Kubernetes and with custom resource definitions and provision them and everything like you would a Kubernetes, very declarative, and using deployments that way. So it's super interesting. Haven't done it yet. I've been looking into it. I feel like at some point I'm going to here soon. Pick rate. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. How you doing? Tardar. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Skrillaflex. Trying to get Home Assistant to work with my Unify Protect cams for better automation. Speaking of it, nice. Let me know how that goes. There's been a few projects that are trying to, that have done integration with Unify really well. I haven't looked into the Home Assistant one. I did for Homebridge for a while, and it's pretty awesome. But that's for iOS and HomeKit stuff. Yeah, let me know how it goes with Home Assistant. Yet, another thing that I would have to figure out if I jump back on Home Assistant, which I feel like I should at some point. I have my stuff split between Google Home, not split, but duplicated. I have redundancy on my home automation between HomeKit and Google Home, 100%. I don't know why I keep, why not add a third and add Home Assistant and get everything running on everything? I have no idea why, but I probably will end up doing it because it sounds fun. Because I can't decide on which platform I'm going to stick with, or I don't want to make a big bet this early on in home automation. I know it seems like, hey, we're there, but it's very early on for sure. But awesome. Let me know how it goes. Because that's something I'm definitely interested in. As you know, I run Unify Protect here, so that would be a requirement for any home automation platform that I use in the future. Mathny, it's funny. I know it's Mathin, but in Twitch it's Mathny. In Discord it's Mathin. But I'm going to keep saying Mathny because I've said it for a year. -9 degrees Celsius here and lots of snow. Keep it for now. Once we're in December, it's fair game. Still in November here, so I'll enjoy no snow for now. But hopefully you're staying safe. Tardar, hey Tim, what do you think about OMV to QNAP NAS with importing QNAP RAID into my OMV without data loss? So you're going to move what do you think about Open Media Vault to QNAP NAS with importing the QNAP RAID into my Open Media Vault without data loss? I don't know. I don't have a ton of experience in Open Media Vault. I mean, I played with it before. It's one of the things I evaluated even before TrueNAS. And not a ton of experience with QNAP. But if it's supported and there's a way to do it, go for it. I say, if you have a need and it is supported and it's not too far off the beaten path, go for it, but make sure you have backups like anything else. I mean, make sure you have backups. I mean, what's the worst that could go wrong? If you have backup, a day of restoring stuff. But if it's something you need and it's well supported and you have backups, I say go for it. Go for it. Trevor, sup, Tim? How's it going? Good to see you. Alec, I'm probably on my way to drop the teen off at work. Just wanted to thank you for your awesome encouragement. Hey, Alec, no problem at all. Anytime. Let me know how it goes or how I can help, for sure. Sweet to be subbed. Yes, thank you. True Charts working. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Working on getting Prometheus integrated in TrueNAS scale. The result has been pretty slick. Nice. Yeah. You mentioned that in Discord, and I think I opened a pull request on your documentation to fix just a link. Because I wanted to check stuff out and edit. It's funny, it's full circle, because that was part of the reason why I was giving scale a look again, was to see the progress on True Charts, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, and then you said you were inspired by my Prometheus video, and so you added to True Charts. This is like one big circle. So thanks for stopping in. Hopefully it's going well. Silicano, quick question. I want to set up Rancher server with Nginx reverse proxy set up to run my website. I was curious, how would you do this though? I was thinking of making a separate VLAN for public facing services with no access to any other VLANs. Absolutely. Would this be a good idea, or would there be a better way? This is going to get kind of confusing because you're going down this path that I went down before. And I don't want to say it's confusing, but yes. So my answer to the first part is yes, absolutely. Anything that has incoming internet access on your device should be on a separate VLAN that has no access to anything else. I mean, with the exception of a few pinholes in a firewall that you may or may not need. If you don't need any, don't do it. But I'm saying there might be exceptions where you're like, okay, I'm going to poke this one specific pinhole in my firewall for this one machine to this one machine on this one specific port. You may or may not need to do that. But yes, my general advice for anything, if you have incoming ports for anything, you're going to publicly host something, separate VLAN altogether, treat it like it's dirty and dangerous and scary. Because what you don't want to have happen if something happens, if they were able to compromise a machine, you don't want them to have access to anything else. So absolutely, that's the way I would go about doing it. If you're doing single node, this is getting all kinds of, it gets very, very blurry. But if you're doing single node, put the whole single node over there then. Hopefully you're doing more than a single node, but I don't remember where you landed. But yes, absolutely, separate VLAN. Would this be a good idea? Is there another way? Oh, and then Nginx reverse proxy. There's Nginx proxy manager you could use. There's traffic, which is built in. There's Nginx ingress, which you could use also. That's Kubernetes native. Just depends on what you want to do. But if you're doing single node and you're going to have to throw that whole entire thing in a different VLAN because you can't separate out the nodes. You can't say, hey, here's my node that manages Rancher and here's my node that runs my Kubernetes user workloads. You can't separate those out if it's a single node. That's why it's good to do more than a single node, not only for reduction and reducing complexity, but also separating out those concerns too. Anyways, answer is yes, separate VLAN for anything. And then, treat that VLAN as, like I said, like a DMZ, like a traditional DMZ. If you have public stuff coming into some segment of your network, treat it like a DMZ. Just act like it doesn't exist. I mean, it does exist, but act like, don't make it easy for you or anyone else to communicate across those VLANs, right? Because if you make it easy for you, it's going to be making it easy for someone else too. Let's see. Silicon Raven, do you archive your logs out of the system? Do I archive my logs out of the system? So I'm using Loki now. I used Graylog before. Actually, nothing wrong with Graylog. Don't take this the wrong way. But I like I said, I wanted something that was cloud native, that was Kubernetes first, that was container first. And so I actually just deprecated my Graylog server yesterday. I shut it all down. I rewired all of my custom code to not pipe stuff out to Graylog anymore. Shut those containers down. Didn't delete them. Just stopped them just in case. Reconfigured a lot of my firewall rules to not. Another reason why I didn't like using it is because I had to send all of those logs over HTTPS to, the Graylog system. Now I don't have to do that. Reduction in traffic, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, so do I archive my logs out of there? No, I don't. Nope. And I have a really small retention policy on my logs. I have like 2 weeks on my logs because most of the time, the things that I run, I need, I only need to look back so far, hours, usually. Maybe days if there's a bug that's there for a while, but most of the time it's not like that. So I run a lot of custom code. I run a lot of other, typical self-hosted services. Most of the times the logs, I don't need any longer. And, if you're logging everything, especially if you're doing debug level logging, or if you're even doing info level logging, that can be a ton of stuff. And one container or one system by itself may not be a lot, but when you have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 systems, and then throw in maybe syslogs, hopefully not. And if you do, you filter them. That can be a ton of data over time. And so I put a retention policy. For me, it's 2 weeks. If something happens in those 2 weeks and I don't catch it, I just kind of chalk it up as, well, I'll catch it when it does happen. Because like I said, most of the time I'm looking for a needle in the haystack or a bug or something specific. And I don't need them any longer than that. So no, the answer is I don't archive them outside of the system. And then I also prune them. And my retention policy for my logs is 2 weeks. I thought about 30 days. I might go to 30 days. But most of the time, for the code I write, I'm looking for a bug. Oh, it's happening now. Most of the time, I don't need to know how far back it's happening. Don't get me wrong. There are tons of use cases where you might want to see when this thing started. But for me in home use, I'm right at 2 weeks. I might go 30 though. But I want to get a good sample size first. So I'm going to go 2 weeks. I'm going to see how big this volume grows. And then I'll just multiply it by 2 and say, well, there's 30-day outlook. Hopefully that helps. PC Geek, how's it going, man? What's up, everyone? Happy Saturday. How's it going, man? Hopefully you're doing scaredy cat. Let's see. Trevor, ever messed around with setting up your own certificate authority? Yeah, way back in the day. Yeah, way back in the day with Windows stuff and IIS stuff, and not fun or easy. It's probably a lot more fun and a lot more easy now. But me personally, I don't have a ton of need for it because now I get Let's Encrypt certificates that are publicly signed and I use them internally. So I just don't even have to think about my cert authority internally and then telling all of my devices, hey, yeah, you can trust this cert authority and all of the work I would need to do. Don't get me wrong. It's great for a lot of people and a lot of use cases, but for me, it's not. I just say, you know what, I kind of remove that capability and said, I hand it off to Let's Encrypt and I say, hey, you're my cert authority kind of, sort of. You sign these publicly, but I only use them internally. And I go that route. But I haven't. It sounds awesome. I'm sure there's tons of, absolutely millions of use cases for it. I haven't done it yet, though. Malicia. That's what I'm going. Merger. I'm just going with the first. Malicia. That's what I'm going. Hi, Tim. I refurbished an old PC, 4-core, and 8-month with 4 gigahertz ZFS mirror. Well, I'm way off on my abbreviations. I'm sorry. Install Proxmox and virtual TrueNAS. So let's go. Old PC, 4-core, with an 8 MO with 4. I'm going with 4 gigs ZFS mirror, install Proxmox and virtual TrueNAS. Congratulations, sounds awesome. That's exactly how I get started on Proxmox. Was 2 things. I wanted to virtualize a Windows PC with a video card, and I wanted to virtualize TrueNAS. And if I could do those 2 things, I was going to stick with Proxmox. I was able to do them, and so I've stuck with it ever since. So congratulations, sounds awesome. Solar Finite, Fit Night. Yo, how's it going? Let's see, Mr. Snilly. I'm going Snilly. Techno Tim. Another thing regarding Nut, I want to do fix. Okay, quote unquote fix. I like it. When Nut says on battery, the shutdown by default starts at 60 seconds. I would like to have Nut not shut down the server before the battery is at critical. Okay, and almost stop instead of 60 seconds. How do you do this? Usually at my place, when there's an outage, it's just 5 or 10 minutes, but my UPS, yeah, absolutely. So I'd have to look. I don't have the config in front of me, but there should be certain levels of conditions. One is like on battery power, and then another is like batteries at critical level. It's almost exactly what you said. I'll have to look at the config again. But basically, you would move that line of logic to shut down that machine to when it actually hits that specific line of code or that break to say the battery is at critical level or the battery has this many minutes remaining. I'd have to look at my config too. Definitely possible because I don't want to do it after 60 seconds. I want to do it, at about 5 minutes, the same as you. So you can do 2 routes. One is you actually can do it at a critical level. I think you have to determine what that is. Or you can just change this 60 seconds to 5 minutes, 300 seconds. Multiply it by 5, 60 by 5, 300 seconds. And just say, yeah, after 5 minutes, then we're going to shut down. And then if you go that route, that's super easy. Just change it from 60 seconds to 300 seconds. And then the cancellation and all of that will still work. Or you can go the other route and go when it's at a critical level. That I haven't done yet, but I can look at the net server config and give you a hand though too. I would go if you're going to go time based and not battery level based. just change from 60 to 300. That's super easy. Excuse me. Let me grab a drink real quick. Trevor, I'm currently upgrading my Cisco Unity connection cluster. Nice. Nice. Let me know how that goes. It sounds super hard and complicated. Hopefully it goes easy, and hopefully you have a pretty quiet then Saturday, because it seems like things could go wrong. Cisco Unity connection cluster. I know next to nothing about that other than Cisco. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully it goes okay. And is this home or is this home or is this work? Because man, you've got some stuff going on at home. If so, it's pretty awesome. Borowitz, hi from Poland. Awesome work. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for first time chatting. Crack Kitty, Geeky Ran sends his love. He can't join the stream. Family in town. He's spending some time with absolutely spend time with family. Yeah, way before spending time with me. Well, I'll ping him in Discord after this. But thank you for sending his regards. Tell him I said I'll ping him afterwards too. But yeah. True charts for single node, TrueNAS scale might be easier. You can get by with stuff in the apps catalog. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's if you want to run, Kubernetes inside of scale, which arguably you may or may not want to do. I'll have something on it soon, as soon as it gets a little bit closer. But unfortunately, well, I'll talk about it then. But I'll talk about it now. One thing that I see that I hope Scale does in the future is open up their Kubernetes API and make these nodes, make their cluster inside of TrueNAS Scale a node rather than a whole entire cluster, or let you adopt that cluster or manage that cluster with something else. It's all new to Scale, and I'm sure they're going to figure it out. And if you're going to scale horizontally, they're going to have to figure it out anyways, because unless you just want to replicate all these pods and states, these clusters everywhere, which you probably don't want to do, at some point you're going to want to scale them horizontally, like TrueNAS Scale. That's the whole reason why it exists. I haven't dug into it too much yet, but it doesn't. I haven't found a way that they're exposing the Kubernetes API to do anything outside of TrueNAS Scale with it. But if single node, and you are 100% TrueNAS and you wanted to do it TrueNAS way, that works too. Let's see. Takano, the music in the background was tripping me out. I've never been able to hear it play during the stream. Because you have headphones on. Yeah, I keep it kind of low. Yeah, I do the same thing. Yeah. So on YouTube, I do the same thing. And when I listen to it on my mobile device without headphones, I'm like, I can't even hear the music. As soon as I put them in, I'm like, whoa, I can hear the music. But it's intentional. But yeah, there is definitely music if you have headphones on. It's low. It's subtle. See? Thank you for the follow. Let's see. Did I miss someone? No. Pick rate. I got that. Mr. Sill, video was great. Thank you. Oh, was great. Thank you. I'll take it. That's what she said. Yeah. BC Geek, I love it. I need to get up on these emotes for sure. I need to up my emote game. I still have a handful, but I need to, and maybe I'll do them. I'll update them and add some more now that Twitch adds some more. Dr. Sprite, hello everyone. How's it going? PC Geek, Proxmox has a shutdown daemon that manages VM shutdown. It waits for X amount of time. If it doesn't shut them down, it terminates. Heck yeah, it does. You specify in a longer time if you want to use it for the VM settings. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely it does. And then containers, what I was saying is then it should send a sigterm command to those two and shut those down gracefully too. Like hypervisors in general have figured this out. There's a soft shutdown, then there's a hard shutdown timer. If they don't hit, if they don't get the power off signal by a certain amount of time, they're going to kill it because that's what you want, especially if you're remote and you're trying to reboot a whole entire hypervisor. You don't want it hanging. But yeah, absolutely. Pac-Man, Proxmox VE, yes. PC Geek, new Android phones, yay! Finally able to use 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi on my phone. Nice, yeah, new phone. All right, new phone. Who dis? Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Wait, you haven't been able to use 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi? You must have had an old phone. I thought I had an old phone. I had a super old phone before I upgraded, but I still had 5 gigahertz. Well, congrats on your new phone. Love it. PC Geek, I love sweet potatoes. Yeah, for sure. I love sweet potatoes too. Heck yeah, candied yams. It's basically dessert before dessert, which is why I love them. Flimsy dongles, I hear you, man. Flimsy dongles. Let's see. Okay. John Norris, Mr. Snill, I shut down my Proxmox 7 cluster this morning to swap out UPS batteries. For some reason, I had to manually go through the web interface and manually shut down PFSense. PFSense, yeah, it's BSD. That's what I was talking about earlier, like why it's nice once things go Linux with inside of Proxmox. I'm not sure why I did not respond, but I have to do it the way FreeBSD works. Exactly, that's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, there should be. So if you have, I think the way that Proxmox works, I'll have to review the documentation. But if you have an automatic startup and a timer, it should also respect that shutdown timer and then kill it after a certain period of time. If not, because TrueNAS does the same thing to me. Like it just does not want to shut down. And sad thing is, it will hard shut down. You know, because it doesn't understand the shutdown signal from the hypervisor. FreeBSD, there's another example. You know, PFSense, where it's just like, yeah, guy, I'm not even listening. So yeah, it kind of stinks. Anyways, it should do a hard shutdown, which is not ideal and not what you want. But yeah, I have to do the same thing in TrueNAS, either go into terminal into it and shut it down, or actually go and hit in the UI and hit the power down button too when I'm rebooting. It kind of stinks, but it will eventually do it. It's a long timer. It might be 2 minutes or something. It should. Linux Tux. Hi, did you use Gatsby? Oh, yeah. I have used Gatsby before. Yeah. So Gatsby's pretty awesome too. Static site generator. Yeah, newer one. I think it's React-based too. I think I have to look into it. Yeah, it has React components, I think. Yeah, pretty awesome. And that's kind of a newer hybrid one where it's a static site generator, but then will allow you to use components too, I think, for React. Pretty awesome. I have used it before. Nothing more than simple hello world and to understand what it is. Yeah, absolutely. Gatsby is awesome. Sorry. Let's see. Mr. Sneal. John Norris. Okay, thank you so much. All the CTs, no problem then. When Nut sends a shutdown, the host, it should not be any problems. I totally agree. Borowitz, Lucas, do you have HLD graph of your home lab? HLD. Hi, hello, hey, hello. I don't know the acronym. Let me know. If it's a big network diagram of my home lab, no, I probably should. If it's metrics on everything, no. Only the most important things I pay attention to. But no, let me know what the acronym means, because I'm not sure off the top of my head. TrueNAS, like, hey, L2 read. TrueCharts, yeah, guest agent is super big. Performance difference is huge. Yeah, for sure. John Norris, Mr. Sneal, yes, all the CTs and VMs obeyed the shutdown except PFSense. Yeah, there we go. That's a FreeBSD. Yeah. Synced. Yeah, ACPI driver maybe. Yeah, good call. Yeah, absolutely. The virtual ACPI to get the soft shutdown command. Yeah, you're on it. Maybe. And yeah, if there's a way to get that installed on there to obey that, that would be awesome. So TrueNAS had that same problem. TrueNAS does. PC Geek Mapney, yep, was added a long time ago. Wife suggested it. I don't know what that. Sorry, I didn't see the response to that. I'm all right. Let me look at the time. We're getting close. We're doing good though. Let me see. I guess I have to pay more attention. No, you don't. You're good. John Norris, thank you. Not using PFSense anymore. Loved it, but I now move over to USG. Yeah, I hear you. Words today. First time chat from Vidal Marvin. Docker or Linux container? Docker. I'm sure you're asking, but no. I mean, this is a big debate, but it really depends on what you want and what you need. And I think what's more used publicly, I can probably say without a doubt, it's Docker containers or Containerd containers is probably a better way to put it, is because of Kubernetes and because of Docker. So I mean, if you have the choice and you have the luxury of learning either and you haven't done either, I would say Docker 100% because it's more generally acceptable, it's more widely used, and you get a lot of mileage out of it. From the things you learn, you can apply not only to Docker on the desktop, Docker in a server, but also to Kubernetes if you ever go down that path too. Not saying there's anything wrong with Linux containers, LXC containers, but if you're that early on your journey and you're like, what should I use? And you have that choice, 100% Docker, because you're just going to get more mileage, more knowledge that's applicable to more things in the real world. My opinion. Opinion D. I just started Opinion D. True Charts. It took quite some time and also get most add-on related containers turned on to scale apps. Mostly there, though. Nice work, man. Nice work. Phantom Way. Is there a virtualization thing in Rancher? Yeah, wondering what it was. Yeah, so kinda. So Rancher has this thing called Harvester, and Harvester is basically what we were talking about earlier with KubeVirt. But Harvester is basically running virtual machines inside of Kubernetes. So it's taking that idea of it's turning it upside down. So they do have something called Harvester. I keep looking at it, and I keep wanting to try it out. I just feel like it's not totally there yet. And plus, it's 100% a disruptor. It would totally disrupt all of my infrastructure that I have right now. Not saying that that's a bad thing. Like sometimes disruptors are great and work well. I just don't know if it's a detractor or not for me right now to basically redo all of my infrastructure and turn it upside down right now. Not saying that if I was to start tomorrow, I wouldn't use it. I'd give it the old college try and go for it. I need to know more about it. For sure. But, it's similar to what other companies are doing too. I know exactly why they're doing it. Because other companies are doing this too. So Phantom Way is virtual. Oh yeah, there it is. Tardar, Techno Tim, I'm using IO Broker. There you can easily integrate Alexa, Siri, and Google and stuff more. Yeah, there you go. So using IO Broker to basically use Home Assistant to then call into any of the other voice assistants there. Yeah, I like it. Mr. Snilly. Have you looked at MotionEye? I have. It's great for all types of IP cameras, can handle motion detection and other cool things. Absolutely. Yeah, I looked at. I've been doing home security stuff. I've been doing it for so long. I have tried MotionEye. I did try. I was on Blue Iris probably for 10 years. And they all work great. And no complaints. The only complaints are not anything to do with the product, but the hardware. And I know people want to have, open IP cameras and want to be able to use them however they want. But for me, that's tough because then I got to manage usernames, I got to manage passwords, I got to manage, different types of firmware for all different types of systems and cameras I bought today, I can't get tomorrow. And it just becomes so much to manage, especially once you get over 2, 3, 4, cameras. It's like, whoa. Anyways, have you MotionEye before? Absolutely love it. Blue Iris is fantastic too. If you want paid closed source software, if you want open source, MotionEye is pretty good too, for sure. And there's another handful of open source home security software, camera-based software out there as well that you can self-host for sure. Mathny, I misspelled it when I made my account on Twitch and someone else took Mathny. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I remember that it was taken. I didn't remember that you had a typo at first. So awesome. Let's see. First time chat. I'm thinking about starting. This is from Not a Snowman. All right, Not a Snowman. Not a Snowman. Let me address something real quick. I'm thinking about starting my home lab with perhaps a switch, but at least a server for Proxmox. So not a Raspberry Pi server. All right, x86. Dude, HomeLab New, how's it going, man? HomeLab New gifted 5 tier 1 subs. Dude, how's it going? I bet he's in the UK today. Dude, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for the gifted subs, man. Appreciate it. Xavier D, UMS Playa, Beep, Bep, names. Bepellum, I saw this one last week and it was so hard for me to get. Bepella Gomista. DJ Raid and Avocado Dude Strap. Enjoy your gifted sub from HomeLab New. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Thank you so much. Thanks for the gifted sub. All of you guys, thank HomeLab New for your gifted subs. Thank you. Not a Snowman. I'm thinking about starting a home lab with perhaps a switch, but at least a server for Proxmox. So not a Raspberry Pi server. Do you have any experience with buying a second-hand servers and/or switches or pieces off eBay? Yeah, Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. So not a Snowman. Absolutely, I do. I have experience with both buying new and buying used. It depends on how much time you want to put into procuring all of your parts. I'll put it that way. There are lots of places you can do it. Obviously, eBay, you could part it all out. I think the favorite amongst a lot of people right now is Dell R720. I had an R710, same, little bit different platform, more ports, more power. But it just depends on how much time you want to put into procuring parts, and then what's that time worth to you. I'll put it that way. If you want to absolutely save the most money and you have a lot of time and you want to investigate all the parts, you could part it out all individually and buy all the parts, put it together yourself, used obviously, and build your own server that way. For me, I took the easier route, which is a little bit more expensive, but I went out to Amazon. I was like, Dell R710, and I get a list of ones that I bought too, and R720s. And, for the most part, you get them from a pretty reputable company that puts a 30-day warranty on every single piece of hardware. It's already assembled, already tested, and they ship it to you. And so that's a pretty good way too. But then I've also sold stuff that I've bought from other places through those other channels too. So all totally fine. All totally fine. Depends on what you want. I mean, depends on what you're trying to do first. I would start with, what are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to learn? What are you trying to host in your home? And that will kind of dictate some of your requirements. And then from there, you can decide, okay, am I okay with, going with a little bit of older machine that's, on the DDR3 platform, or do I want something newer with DDR4 platform? How many cores do I need? How much RAM do I need? How much drive space do I need? What's this going to do? So, those are some of the things that I start to think about. But as I was saying earlier, a lot of people start with a Dell R720 or an R710 or one of those machines in that class, and it's more than enough. It's way more than enough than you'll need, unless you're going to be, crypto mining or geo mining or something like that. But for the most part, those will satisfy most of your requirements. But yeah, absolutely. And then I bought new before too. I bought bare bones of super micros and then customized them a little bit myself, and gone that route to where I was like, okay, because super micro, I say this a lot, but it has a lot of super custom stuff, and it's really hard to match up, boards to cases to some of their other parts. So I was just like, okay, give me a bare bones. I'll supply, the CPU, I'll supply the RAM, I'll supply the hard drive, everything else, just give it to me as is in a bundle. And so you can also do that too in eBay. So it doesn't even have to be new. Anyways, long story short, depends on what you want to do. But I absolutely would recommend doing, buying from places like eBay or Facebook Marketplace. Absolutely. Because I sold my R710 on eBay, and it was a fantastic transaction. Gave it to someone who was really excited about learning stuff, and I probably talked to him way too much about the server that he already knew about, but I was excited to give it to that person. So yeah, for sure, all good. And a lot of people have a lot of experience doing that too. Ryan, PDG, I started down the path with Andrea Spies IO Stack tutorials, and I've been bitten by the container bug. Thanks for doing those videos on Pi-hole and Authelia. I am on my way over to complicating my own server for a family of two. Hey, that's okay. I've complicated mine for a family of two. And when I see two, it's just me and my wife, unless you count our dogs. So I'm there. I'm there with you. I have overcomplicated stuff. To me, I don't want to say I've overcomplicated it. To my wife, I've made it pretty easy to everyone else consuming stuff. I keep all the complexity in my head or in documentation, and for the day that I hopefully don't have to restore this from bare metal or from the cloud, I've kind of tucked that complexity away for then too. But for the most part, things are surprisingly really, really, really stable here. It's not always that way. There's some growing pains for sure, and you'll run into that too. But it's super fun. Yeah, once you get bitten by the container bug, I always associate that like that feeling with containers and finding containers and spinning them up and testing them out with like add-ins and plugins for like games. Because it's the same way. I'm like, oh, once you get bitten by that bug of customization or add-ins or plugins, then you want to try them all out. And then, it's the same way with containers. I'm that same way too, for sure. I have a list of ones that I use and run and I talk about quite a bit. So it's super fun, super fun. All right, guys, I know it's a little bit over. It's 4:20 right now, so got to kind of wrap it up. I'm going to look for a direct mention, so I apologize. Let me see. Techno Tim. Okay. John O'Norris. I acquired 2 old Mac all-in AIOs. Old Mac AIOs. Do you recommend setting up Apple OS X network services so it operates in a native way, or will basic Linux Windows machine infrastructure be fine? I don't know. AIOs, all-in-ones? I assume you mean when you say, I don't know. I don't know what AIOs are. I don't know if you mean an iMac or some other type of server. But set up Apple OS X services so it operates in native way. I don't know. If it's something that's older and barely supported by Apple, I would go Linux. And I'm sure lots of people on the internet have figured out a way to have it run Linux. That's what I would go personally if you're picking up old hardware, because most of the time, Linux being open source, and then hopefully the hardware on there is pretty standard, maybe Intel-based stuff. You're gonna increase the longevity and the lifespan of that device even further out from any OS manufacturer like Apple or Microsoft. If you go the Linux route, you'll just get more life out of it, because a lot of times those things don't get deprecated. Or there's people in open source who really care about that device or that hardware that's inside of the device, who continue to develop the drivers for it. So I would go Linux. That's the way I would go. I don't know much about this device though. I'm trying to think. Old Mac AIOs. I'll have to Google, because I'm thinking like iMacs, or something like that. True Charts. After discussing with TrueNAS devs, it's been made pretty clear there's no plan in the cluster. Yeah, see, this is what I was saying. Yeah, for sure. No, I know exactly what you're talking about, TrueNAS. That's I mean, I've seen it on the GitHub, so I don't even need to talk to the devs, because I've seen it on the GitHub too. Yeah, that's one thing where it's kind of, that's a tough sell. And I get why they're doing it. I totally understand. But that makes it a tough sell. Then it, at least for self-hosting, it just becomes, I don't want to say like a con, because it's definitely a pro to add Kubernetes or give cluster support or Docker support, even though it's through Kubernetes. It just makes it tough to integrate into existing environments. I'll say it that way. It's more like a scalable NAS, which is exactly what it is. It's not a con unless you're doing Kubernetes stuff outside of there. Then it's kind of like, okay, how does this fit in? But more to come on that for sure. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. All right, guys, I got to look for direct mentions. I apologize if I skipped over, mainly because, I gotta wrap it up. I'm gonna try to stay, within the hour I said. Let's see. Home Lab New, just wanted to say thanks for those, for the last words. Just wanted to say thanks for these past 1.5 years. Hey, yeah, no problem, man. Have to dip out today, but wanted to say thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll be able to tune properly in the next couple of weekends. Thanks, dude. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate it for sure. It's been awesome. Chicano 420, got to head to the new grow room. No, I happened to look at the clock. It said 420. I'm like, yeah, it's exactly what time it was. Not the new grow room. That thing's been deprecated. It's a server room now. John and Norris, I used AIO because I'm not a Apple PC person. They're iMacs. All right, that's exactly what I was. All right, hey, that's all right. I totally. That's what I was thinking. I was like, AIO. How can it be all in one? That means a screen too, probably. So it's probably an iMac. So I totally get it. That one's tough. So that one's tough. So I did say Linux. I mean, I would look into it. So I will say on iMacs, if you want to use them longer than what Apple supports them for, Windows actually has pretty good support for those devices afterwards. So you probably want to use them as like a consumer device, right? Like hey, I need a monitor, I need to browse the web, I need to do things on them. So I won't say go the Ubuntu route or Linux route unless they have really good support for those devices that are on there. But most likely, most iMacs are going to have what? They're going to have Intel CPU and maybe Intel integrated GPU, or an AMD GPU, or an NVIDIA GPU. And so Windows is absolutely going to handle that just fine. Windows 10, Windows 7, whatever. Windows 11, it's probably going to be pretty fine. Well, Windows 11, I don't know. But Windows 10 is absolutely going to be fine with that device, with any iMac, I think, that even exists, because, Windows has so much compatibility with a lot of those things. And Apple used pretty standard hardware in most of those Intel-based iMacs. Linux could be a different, could be a journey. Could be fun. It would be fun to try out. I mean, we have an iMac here. It's getting close to end of life from Apple. I don't think they're going to be able, I don't even know if it can even run the latest Monterey. Haven't updated it yet, but we'll be in the same boat here soon. So I'm going to be there too. But Linux on there, why not? Just depends. But Windows should and totally, run fine, because Windows 10 is so compatible with so many different things. So. Anyways, hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys had a happy Thanksgiving. I apologize if I skip over your comment at the end. If you still have a question or want to get a hold of me, you can ping me in Discord, ping me on Twitter. Absolutely. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. I will be on Discord, probably not here right within the next hour or two, but I'll be on there later on tonight. That's where most people can find me. If you have any other questions or comments, post them in there. There's a whole community of people in there too that know a lot more than me about a lot of this stuff. And so I encourage you to join our Discord if you haven't already. Up to 5,000 members of people who are just generally interested in tech and trying to solve a lot of the same problems. And I think collectively we can solve most of them together without too much fuss. So, hey, have a happy rest of the weekend. If you had Thanksgiving, enjoy your longer weekend. If not, have a great weekend. If it's Sunday for you, I'm sorry. We got one more day in the U.S. of the weekend. So, but have a happy rest of the weekend. I'll have something for you here shortly. I wanted to have it out today, but I just couldn't swing it with the holidays. But here shortly, I have something for you. And then, absolutely, I'll be back next week. So I appreciate it. Thanks for the follows. There were subs, there was follows. So appreciate it. Gifted subs. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. But I'll see you on Discord. Take care, folks, and be good to each other. Take care.